If you're messaging recruiters or hiring managers on LinkedIn and hearing nothing back, it's not because you're not good enough, it's probably because they're not seeing your message. As someone who used to work in recruitment, I can tell you LinkedIn inboxes are chaos. Hundreds of messages a day, no proper way to organize them. Things get lost constantly. But there is one place recruiters and hiring managers and pretty much most of us live every single day. Their email inbox. It's where interviews get scheduled, where shortlists are shared, and where offers are made. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to find the hiring manager for your target role, get their emails even if they're not listed, and how you can use this info to bypass the ATS. Plus, I'll also show you how to use this method to follow up after interviews and send speculative applications even when companies aren't actively hiring. So let's get into it. Now, step one is to understand who you should be contacting. Now, this should be the hiring manager, not a recruiter. You're boss hunting, not sending an email to someone whose job it is to manage applicants via the company ATS. Because if you do that, what do you think is going to happen? Yeah, you guessed it. They'll say, "Thanks very much, but please can you reply via the company website?" And can you blame them? They don't want to have to deal with applications coming from all angles. They want to be as straightforward as possible. So yes, I will say it again, you are boss hunting. You're looking for someone with a job title like director of department or head of team or team lead, or if it's a smaller company, you might even want to target the founder or the CEO. Now, I go into more depth about this as part of my Career Growth Accelerator program because it's such an important step in the job search process. So if you're interested in working with me one-to-one, take a look at the link in the description below and book a call. For now, just remember, this is not about contacting recruiters. You are trying to find the person who will be your boss, and depending on the size of the company, you may need to apply some common sense, but hopefully you understand what I mean, okay? So now that I've made that clear, here's what you need to do to find them. So jump into LinkedIn Jobs tab and use the search bar to search your target jobs. Now, we'll use an example of someone looking for a clinical project manager job because that's what I used to recruit for years when running my own agency. Now, you can get fancy with your search by using the filters or referring to my full video outlining how to use Boolean search like a pro. But for now, let's just get the basic search going so you can see the results and select the job you want to target. So jump into that, and more often than not, you will see this section that says meet the hiring team. Now, in most cases, I want you to ignore this. Well, at least in 95% of the time, you can ignore it because more often than not, what you will find here is the recruitment or a member of the talent acquisition team. And that individual is not going to be your future boss. That said, I have noticed LinkedIn have improved this feature, and if the job posting mentions the hiring manager or future boss by title, they will often highlight their profile as well as the HR team. And it's also worth noting that in smaller companies, it may be the hiring manager who is posting the job as they don't have a recruitment team. But rather than rely on that, instead what you want to do is jump over to the company page. Now, select the people tab and then use the search bar to enter the most likely job title of your future boss. So in the case of a clinical project manager, they could report to a whole host of people, but more often than not, it would be the director of clinical operations or the VP of clinical operations. Again, this is where common sense has to apply depending on the size of the company. So enter that job title into the search bar and hit search, and then boom, you'll get your results. Now you can then select the relevant person. Now jump onto their profile and maybe send them a DM if you're already connected, or an email if you're a premium user. If not, this is the next step most people miss. Now, while on their profile, head over to another tab. Now, if you're signed into Google Chrome like me, go to the Chrome store and use the search bar to look for email finders or email scraping tools. Now, personally, I've used quite a few in my time, but one that I like is called Adapt. So let's look at that. So enter Adapt into the search bar, get the extension enter all of your details to activate your free account. Then jump back to the profile and click refresh if needed and grab the hiring manager's email. Now, it won't get it 100% every time, but when you consider that when I started in recruitment, we would either need to guess or call through to the main switchboard to see if we could be creative enough to get the gatekeeper to give us an email address. So this is easier than it's ever been. And if Adapt doesn't work, get yourself a few Chrome extensions and see if you have it more luck there. Others I'd recommend are Hunter.io, Rocket Reach, Contact Out, and Whizzer. Okay, so now that you have done the detective work, you have the email address. Now don't waste it. You've just opened up a real line of communication, so make it count. Now here's what I recommend. Tailor your resume, attach it to the email, and use my 3-sentence cover letter format. Yes, that short. So sentence 1, your trigger for reaching out. You notice their vacancy for. And then in sentence 2, highlight your suitability. And remember, this needs to be clear, because if it's not, they will still ignore you. And then sentence 3, your call to action. Now I've got another video going into more detail about this, but if you comment Adapt, and I'll send you the template so that you can get going with this straight away. And that's how you do it. Now the first couple of times you do it, it's probably going to feel strange. And if you go onto LinkedIn, you'll see tons of people claiming that the hiring managers hate it and that it doesn't work. But all this really means is that it hasn't worked for them. Now take a look at my client. She felt the same before joining my program and would never have approached the hiring manager until she learned how to do things properly. And in her case, it was less than a 2-day turnaround and she'd be over 100 applicants who had already applied. So look, this can be a powerful, powerful tactic when done well and combined with a good resume and LinkedIn presence. Okay, so hopefully this helps you break any limiting beliefs you may have that you must apply online or the hiring managers don't want to hear from you. Because when this is done well, this strategy is an absolute game changer. Anyone telling you otherwise just hasn't mastered it yet. But hey, this isn't the only way you can take advantage of this. Here's a bonus most job seekers completely overlook. Now, this strategy doesn't just help you reach people before the interview, it's perfect for following up after the interview too. So let's say you had a great chat with the hiring manager, but the recruiter never shared their contact details. Just go onto LinkedIn, find their profile and use Adapt or Hunter to get their email. Then you can send a short, thoughtful thank you note without relying on anyone else. Now this shows initiative, attention to detail, and that you actually care. And while that's a wrap for this video, if you want help with what to say, you should go watch this video where I'll talk about writing the perfect thank you email. I'll see you there.